Tradition. Noun. The transmission of customs or beliefs from generation to generation, or the fact of being passed on in this way.
Of course, the best traditions are the ones you can eat. So on today's episode of Am I Hungry or Am I Bored, we'll be delving into the world of family recipes. Now, family recipes can run the gamut. Maybe it's your grandmother's tuna noodle casserole, maybe your great-aunt Wa's date nut cookies, maybe your great-great-grandfather Greg's meatballs. Regardless of the dish, they all share some similar traits. 1, they've been made for decades, if not generations. 2, they usually only come out at special occasions like holidays or birthdays or anniversaries. And 3, they are universally loved by friends and family alike. This is not one of those dishes. This is more like child abuse that segued into 4 decades of Stockholm Syndrome. Think of this week's episode less of a instructional cooking video and more of a dire warning against the dark side of family recipes. I speak, of course, of the Thanksgiving green Jell-O recipe. For almost every one of my 41 years on this earth, I have traveled to Buffalo to be with my father's family for Thanksgiving. And among the turkey and the gravy and the stuffing and the mashed potatoes and the pumpkin pie was this thing, this big, jiggly, green, gelatinous cube with +5 to grossness. As a kid, I was forced to eat it. As a teenager, I realized it was polite, plus the Stockholm Syndrome had kicked in. And finally, decades later, I freed myself from the gelatinous yolk. Yolk! Not like an egg, but like, you're an oxen, and you're yoked and you're plowing the fields. Except this is a food, and I'm plowing the food equivalent of a field. The point is, people, I'm free. But there are lessons to be learned, so I'm going to show you this in the hope that you learn them. Alright? So I spoke to my father about this. I was curious as to the origins, and his best guess, after doing some research, this came from the 1940s from a church group. So yeah, good job, God. Way to win it up. Jerk. The first thing you would need to make this dish, which you won't because it's bad, would be a ring pan. This, however, is not a ring pan. This is a bunt pan. They are different things, apparently, and I did not know that. Next up, you're going to need cabbage. Also, carrots, crushed pineapple, and green Jell-O. Now, if you were expecting exact amounts, you can forget it. I would no more give you the exact amounts of this recipe than I would give you a loaded gun. It is your God-given American right to shoot yourself in the foot if you want, but I will not sell you the bullets. Step 1, chopping shit up into tiny bits. Normally I'd use a chef's knife here, but this recipe would merely dishonor the blade, so instead we will apologize to the knife and move on to something else. Thankfully, this big beefy boy has some thick skin and won't mind the insult. He'll take care of that cabbage and carrot. And there you have it, a bunch of chopped up cabbage and carrots, ready to go into the Jell-O. Up next, we're gonna drain all the juices from that crushed pineapple. Just just get on and look at that. Next, we're gonna take an unknown amount of that pineapple. We're gonna dump it right into our cabbage and carrots. It's time for the magic of Jell-O. Boiling hot water, bringing back memories, flashbacks of a happier time. A time with family, togetherness. Turkey and mashed potatoes, and pie, and this aberration against humanity. Alright, once that's nice and stirred up, you're going to take your pineapple juice and cold water, mix that in, and we sew all the pieces of Frankenstein together and jolt them with electricity. But in this case, it's a couple hours in the fridge. I mean, it could be worse. I could be putting meat in this. I'm not, so be grateful. Be grateful that this lesson doesn't contain any true horrors. Jell-O-based horrors. Whoops! Oh God! It's all over the place. See, people? Even the act of making it is fraught with peril. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Months of therapy down the drain. But it's for a good cause, so you don't have to suffer as I have suffered. But we're not done yet. We still have to get the Jell-O out of the mold. So all of this is going to go into the sink in hot water. We're going to jiggle it around until it's loose. Then we're going to dump it on a plate. And here is the final product, ladies and gentlemen. Cabbage and carrots and pineapple in a disgusting lime jelly. Oh, and to make matters worse, apparently the middle is supposed to be filled with cottage cheese. That's right, people. More grossness. Not that cottage cheese is grossness, but cottage cheese with lime, Jell-O, and cabbage and carrots is pretty horrifying. Alright, it's not that bad. But that's what I'm talking about, right? That's 4 decades of Stockholm Syndrome speaking. Alright? Food should never be squeaky. No level of squeakiness should be allowed in food. But it is what it is. This is my destiny, people. Well, until next time. This is Am I Hungry or Am I Bored? Maybe it's your grandmother's tuna nuna casserole. Tuna nuna casserole. Nuna. God damn it. Tuna nuna Jesus Christ. Tuna nuna casserole. Tuna noodle casserole. Tuna noodle noodle. Tuna noodle casserole.